Hi, I'm Lance Henriksen. You're watching Bryan Lomax's Movie Talk.
Hello there and welcome to my review of A View to a Kill, the final film by Roger Moore in the title role of Bond. I've got to say, this film kind of has a special place in my heart, soft spot maybe. I've got a bit of a soft spot for this film, I must say. It gets critically panned in a lot of Bond circles, and I kind of understand the reasons, but I have, like I say, a bit of a soft spot for it because it was the first Bond film that really I watched multiple times as a kid. That's primarily because my brother used to play it to death. It was his favourite Bond film when he was a kid. So yeah, I was going into this with an open mind. I was hoping that I would like it as much as I did when I was a kid. First of all, we have the introductory action sequence, kind of reminiscent, I guess, of the opening scene in Spy Who Loved Me, only it's not quite as good, it must be said. It's not shot as well, and I think a lot of that is down to the fact that Roger Moore is so old now. He's so old in this film that he cannot do any of the physical work. So that really shows. It shows in the performances and the way they have to hide the fact that it's not Moore doing these things. There is still some good stunt work in it, but it's clearly evident that it's not Moore doing it. Also, as has for some reason become a trait in Bond films, they ruin certain action set pieces by either sticking a stupid special effect on it or sticking some really inappropriate music on it for the sake of comedy. The problem is, as it's always been the case in Bond, is it's just not funny. It doesn't kind of make me warm to the scene anymore. It takes me out of the scene. The opening titles for this film I kind of like. They're very 80s, they're very neon. Joel Schumacher would have a field day with these titles, but let's face it, it does have one of the best all-time Bond themes. The A View to a Kill theme by Duran Duran is really fantastic. It's just right from its opening beats, it really grabs you, and to this day it's still one of the best Bond themes. So in this film, basically Bond is charged with investigating Zorin Industries. This is because a chip that was created by Zorin Industries for the West has essentially been found in the hands of, well, the East. So they're wondering who is the inside man, who within Zorin Industries has given this chip over to the hands of the Russians. Bond, obviously going with logic and being the smartest guy in the room, assumes pretty much early on that it's Zorin himself. He must be the man responsible. So he goes to investigate Zorin, and eventually finds out that Zorin is indeed responsible. And that's basically it. But Zorin has this plan that is very reminiscent of Goldfinger's plan, which is to kind of destroy the part of the world that is obviously, Silicon Valley, which is known for creating these chips, wiping them out so that his chips that he's created elsewhere will become the new commodity, the go-to guy, so to speak, for computer chips. So yeah, the plot for this film pretty much is a remake of Goldfinger. It's just rather than gold, it was the modern currency of the time, which was computers. While I think Goldfinger has a lot more style, I think it's shot more beautifully. I enjoy A View to a Kill more. And that's probably sacrilegious amongst the Bond community because Goldfinger is held in such high esteem. But I think it comes primarily from the fact that I love Christopher Walken. Again, I've heard a lot of criticism for Walken in this role, but I think he makes for a tremendous villain. He's a brilliant actor, one of my favourites. And he's such a much more effective villain to me than Goldfinger ever was. I never felt threatened by Goldfinger. Odd Job maybe. He had a really threatening henchman, but I never felt threatened by Goldfinger himself. Whereas in this film, I feel like Zorin gets his hands dirty. He's willing to do things himself, and he just yeah, he has menace about him. He feels threatening. He takes enjoyment out of some of the sadistic things he does to people. And this is one of the things that turned Roger Moore off the film a little bit, to be honest, is that scene where Zorin, he just guns down all these people who are working for him. And from what I gather, Moore took umbrage to that a little bit. He didn't quite like it. He thought that it was going in a darker place that maybe the Bond series shouldn't go. Personally, I thought it was a nice direction. It made it a bit more believable. But yeah, it really turns Zorin into a threatening bad guy, somebody worthy of Bond's time, quite frankly. When Bond gets to Zorin's mansion and starts to investigate him, it's there where, for me, the film starts to sag a bit. It starts to drag. It feels very piecemeal. There's some sequences when he's in the stables investigating the mansion, and it doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere. And there's a fight sequence down at the bottom of the stables in this factory that is just awful, really, again because of the age, and they even get these two henchmen who are almost as old as Moore at this point, because if he fought any younger men in this scene, it just wouldn't be believable that he could take them out. It isn't believable that he can take these guys out, quite frankly, but there you go. It's a bit stilted, a bit wooden, just as wooden as the crate boxes that Bond sticks the henchmen into. What I will say about these scenes at the mansion, however, is that Patrick Macnee is very good in them. I like the relationship. I like the playful banter between Bond and this chauffeur that Macnee is playing. It's a shame to see him go, but it is nice that he gets a proper credit in the film. Cubby Broccoli gave him a starring credit in the film, much to Patrick Macnee's surprise, really. He came on board this film to do a supporting role, and that's all it was to him. It took a few days, so when he saw his name appear at the beginning of the film as a main credit, he was very surprised by that, and that's a testament, I guess, to Cubby Broccoli. Macnee's death scene in this film actually is quite creepy, and I remember being creeped out by it as a kid. I remember going into a car wash when my dad took us all in through a car wash, and just being in there, being creeped out by it after seeing this scene in A View to a Kill. It's a good death scene. It's not graphic. We don't get to see too much blood and guts or anything, but it has that air of menace about it simply because of the location in which it's shot. When it comes to the henchmen in this film, it actually comes down to a henchwoman, which is Grace Jones's Mayday, a character I never really liked. As a kid, I just found her to be quite weird, to be honest. She was like a man trapped inside a woman's body, or a woman trapped inside a man. She has a manly body, let's put it that way. I don't know, she's a little bit too weird for me, and I think maybe in real life as well as on film, because I hear stories about Grace Jones, and whenever I've seen her in interviews, she does come off as proper larger than life and just a little bit out there. So I don't know, I've never been able to warm to her that much, and I kind of don't like her in this as well. I don't know, it's just something about her that turns me off. I do like Mayday a little bit more towards the end of the film, just because she has that redemptive side when she realizes that Zorin it basically will screw anyone. He's not faithful or loyal to anyone, including her, someone who has been so faithful and loyal to him. So when she realizes that and she scuppers his plan, it does make me warm to her a little bit more. It's nice to see a henchman, a Bond villain, having something of a redemptive streak. The Bond girl, Stacey Sutton, played here by Tanya Roberts. Confession time, I had a major thing for Tanya Roberts when this film came out. Certainly when it came out on video, I was too young to go and see it at the cinema. But one of the main things that attracted me to this film was Tanya Roberts as Stacey Sutton. Even now, I still like her in this role. I still like her as a Bond girl. She's not one of the best, admittedly, but I like her. And I think her character as well, while at times shows quite a lot of weakness, on other aspects she shows quite a lot of strength, such as when Bond is fighting two guys in her house. She does have a crack. She has a go at them. She pulls a gun on Bond. She pulls a gun on them. She's willing to to go the distance, so to speak. That being said, there are really stupid moments in this film, such as the air balloon, Zorin's air balloon managing to creep down behind Stacey Sutton so that Zorin can grab her into the air balloon. I don't know how she was able to allow it to get to that point, quite frankly. How do you not notice something the size of a blimp? How do you not notice a blimp coming down behind you? And Bond kind of shouts to her, you know, to look out. But seriously, dude, how late in the day did you leave it? You allowed this blimp to get right on top of her before you tell her it's behind her. So yeah, just that scene, I get that they had to get her on the blimp for the finale, but I just feel like they could have gone a different way about it. It stretches credibility, as do many things in this film, but hey, it's a Bond film, we're kind of used to that. The finale of this film on the Golden Gate Bridge is really quite spectacular, I must say. It is hindered somewhat, once again, by the fact that Roger Moore can't do the physical stuff, so the fight scene between him and Zorin is a little bit of a letdown, I must say. There was real scope there. If this had been a Timothy Dalton film, I think it would be much better. I think this would be a brilliant film, actually, if this was a Timothy Dalton film, because that fight sequence at the end could have been a lot more physical. There could have been a lot more punches and kicks thrown, and I just think it would have had a lot more impact. As it stands, it still looks visually stunning. It's quite a breathtaking set piece, simply because of the location. But yeah, just could have done better on the action stakes, let down by an aging Roger Moore. I wouldn't say A View to a Kill is a poor Bond film, but I wouldn't say it was a great top tier Bond film either. I think it's average, and I would give it a 6 out of 10. So there you go, there's my review of A View to a Kill. I want to know what you think. How do you think this ranks amongst Roger Moore films, and how do you think it ranks amongst Bond films as a whole? Do you think I've been too fair on the film and let nostalgia creep in? Please comment below, let me know, and until next time, thanks for watching.